Congratulations to all three of you. Judge Panelo, you are a political activist, aren't you?
Thank you, Senator Kennedy. I am a judge on the Washington State Court of Appeals. I don't consider that to be a political activist.
Okay. In 2020, you and 10 of your friends issued a written statement. You entitled it, quote, Statement on Racism, White Supremacy, and Justice. Here's what you said. I'm quoting from you now. Racism and white supremacy currently plague every social, educational, economic, governmental, and legal system.
Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. If you love this country, if you're worried about what's happening to our courts, our legal system, and our values, you're going to want to stick around for this one. Today, we're reacting to a Senate confirmation hearing that, frankly, says a lot about where the left wants to take America. We're talking about the grilling Senator John Kennedy gave to Judge Fabe Panelo, one of President Biden's picks for the federal judiciary. Now, if you missed it, buckle up, because what you're about to hear should concern every patriotic American.
Racism and white supremacy currently plague every social, educational, economic, governmental, and legal system in our state and in our nation. And they have for centuries. Both, you're referring to your state and America, both target Black, Indigenous, African American, Latinx, and other people and communities of color, resulting in entrenched inequality and inequity, manifesting in unjust, unfair, and differential treatment, and yielding remarkably disparate and negative outcomes relative to those experienced by white people. End quote. Did I read that accurately?
Senator, I don't have it in front of me. I don't have any reason to think that you did not read that correctly.
Okay. You are very active in Planned Parenthood, are you not?
No, Senator.
Okay. Well, Planned Parenthood, in its annual reports, lists you as a, quote, silver friend, close quote. Do you know what a silver friend means?
I don't, Senator.
That's someone who has donated between $1,000 and $2,500 to Planned Parenthood of Greater Washington and North Idaho. That's in the Planned Parenthood annual reports. You don't know anything about that?
I don't recall. What I recall, Senator, is that my husband had donated to Planned Parenthood, and I think at some point in time they listed me along with him, but I believe that was a donation.
This is you.
Okay.
And in fact, they say that as of 2018, you've been a donor for at least 10 consecutive years. Is that right?
I do not recall donating them for the last 10 consecutive, 10 years before 2018 or 10?
That's as of.
I don't recall, Senator.
Okay, you don't remember. Okay, let me ask you, you're on the Court of Appeal. Let me ask you about a few of your cases. Do you remember a case called State v. Westwood?
I believe so, Senator.
And you were reversed in that case, weren't you?
Senator, in reviewing my cases, I think I've been reversed in about 2% of the cases that I've issued. I've issued almost...
Were you reversed in that case, though?
That was a very complicated case regarding sentencing law.
But I'm going to run out of time, and I got a bunch of these.
Okay.
Were you reversed?
That might have been one of the 2% of the cases. I think so.
I
believe that was one of the 2% of cases,
You remember
Senator.
a case called Personal Restraint of heiress?
That, I think, was the case regarding whether or not the person had been
Were you
deprived.
reversed in that case?
That was, I think I was not
Were you
reversed.
reversed in that case, counsel?
Senator, I think that I wasn't reversed as to outcome, but it was one of the 2% of the cases where the state Supreme Court
Do you
disagreed with the
remember a
analysis.
case called Parental Rights of ALK? Were you reversed in that case?
Senator, I think that was one of the 2% of my over 450 cases where there was a reversal.
Do you remember a case called State v. Log Bomb?
I recall that case, Senator. That
Were
case,
you reversed in that case?
that was one of the 2% of cases. I issued an opinion to affirm a conviction, and the state Supreme Court overruled that and
Remember a
reversed.
case called State v. Barboza v. Cortez? Were you reversed in that case?
Senator, that case is not coming to mind. Again, I've issued over, myself personally written over 450
Do you remember
decisions.
a case called State v. Telvik?
Senator, I think I recall that name. That might have been one of the
Were you
2% of
reversed in
cases.
that too?
That might have been one of the 2% of cases,
Okay.
Senator.
Another case, Hendrickson v. Moses Lake School. Were you reversed in that case?
Senator, I recall that case. I think that might have been one of the 2% of cases where the state Supreme Court disagreed with the analysis of another
Were
appellate
you
court. from
reversed?
the
You
state.
remember a case called State v. Curry? Were you reversed there?
Senator, I think you're reading off all the cases. I think that's one of the 2% of cases.
Okay. How about a case called Estate v. Rathbone? Were you reversed?
That's probably one of the 2%, Senator.
How about a case called Douglas v. Shamrock Paving Company?
Senator, that's
Reversed.
a case where I was largely affirmed. The only thing that was a reversed, I included everything, even if it was just a partial reverse. The only thing that I was reversed on was an award of attorney fees. The substance of the law, which was rather new in that case regarding what constituted an investigation for an environmental
So
cleanup.
you weren't reversed?
That part of it I was affirmed.
Yeah, I think that would be a surprise to the Supreme Court that you weren't reversed.
Okay, thank you, Senator.
I'm out of time. Thanks, Mr. Chairman, for your indulgence.
So, right off the bat, Senator Kennedy asks Judge Panelo if she's a political activist. And what does she say? She denies it, says, "I'm just a judge. I don't consider myself a political activist." But let's be real here. The left is constantly trying to blur the line between activism and impartial law. That's how we end up with judges who legislate from the bench and push a progressive agenda, instead of interpreting our Constitution as it was written. Panelo helped write a statement declaring that racism and white supremacy currently plague every social, educational, economic, governmental, and legal system in America. Everyone. Folks, that's not just an opinion. That's a radical worldview. That's saying America is rotten to the core, that our institutions are racist by nature. If you believe in this country, if you believe in our founding principles, you know that's just not true. Now, is there racism in America? Sure, there is. But to say that every system is plagued by white supremacy, that's the kind of far-left rhetoric we see from activists, not objective judges. When our judges see the whole country as systemically evil, how can we trust them to rule fairly? And then there's the Planned Parenthood connection. Kennedy asks her about being a silver friend of Planned Parenthood. This isn't just some charity. The organization is one of the most controversial in America, getting millions in taxpayer dollars while performing hundreds of thousands of abortions. Panelo claims she's not very active, says maybe her husband donated, but come on. Let's be honest. Nobody gets listed as a major donor to Planned Parenthood for nothing. The fact that she's been supporting them for at least 10 years, according to their own records, tells you where her values are. The left wants judges who will rubber stamp their radical social agenda. Abortion on demand, no restrictions, taxpayer funding. That's what's at stake here. Now, Kennedy does what every senator should do. He digs in her record. He rattles off case after case where the higher courts reversed her decisions. And let me tell you, that's not some technicality. When you're a judge, getting reversed means you got the law wrong. Panelo tries to downplay it, says she's only been reversed in 2% of her cases. But Kennedy lists a whole bunch of them. State versus Westwood, State versus Logbomb, State versus Curry, and more. She admits most of them were, in fact, reversals. Look, I get it. judges get reversed sometimes. But when you're getting reversed over and over, especially on big, controversial issues, that's a red flag. That means you're pushing your own interpretation, not sticking to the law. And you know what else? She even tries to twist one case, claiming she was largely affirmed when the Supreme Court actually reversed her on a key issue. The arrogance here is stunning. Instead of accepting responsibility, she spins it as if being reversed is a badge of honor, like she's grappling with novel issues. Folks, the law is not supposed to be novel. It's supposed to be predictable and fair. This is the Biden administration's game plan. They want to fill our courts with left-wing activists who see America as fundamentally broken, who support abortion on demand, and who push their own ideology from a bench. Judges like Panelo aren't neutral. They're activists in robes. They look at America and see nothing but racism and oppression. They support organizations like Planned Parenthood, and they get reversed by higher courts because they're not following the law. And let's remember, these are lifetime appointments. These judges will be making decisions about your rights, your family, your freedoms for decades to come. Listen, folks, I'm not saying every judge has to be a conservative, but they do need to respect the Constitution, respect the law, and love this country. We don't need more judges who think America is evil. We need judges who will protect our freedoms, not undermine them. If you care about the courts, if you care about America, you need to pay attention to these nominations. Call your senators. Make your voice heard. And as always, if you appreciate the truth and want to fight back against the radical left, hit that subscribe button, like this video, and share it with your friends. God bless you. God bless our Constitution, and God bless the United States of America. I'll see you in the next one.